Okay everyone, welcome back to the channel for another video on Gran Turismo 7. I'm back with some absolutely brilliant daily races that we have took part in this week at Daily Race C with the extreme settings that PD have put in. Now, there's been a lot of complaints about Gran Turismo 7 recently in the community, and I totally understand a lot of them complaints, and I'm in agreement with majority of them. However, there is some that I don't agree with, and I've been having an incredible amount of fun on this game recently. I still think this game is going to get there. I am going to put my faith into this game because I am absolutely loving Gran Turismo 7 at the moment, and these races I think are going to highlight why I love Gran Turismo 7. The races that you get on this game, I just don't find this type of racing on other games and the excitement that you get from Gran Turismo 7. So let's get into these. We're going to start with a race, three races here on Daily Race C. Starting off with this one. We're starting from P1 in this one. We've got a few fast drivers in the race. We've got Wind behind us. We've also got Stagger there from the America region, starting down in P7, who is an extremely fast driver. So this is going to be interesting. We've noticed there is quite a few different cars you can use this week. I'm going with the Megane. That seems to be my favourite choice. Now, the reason for that is because I'm a better driver with the Megane Trophy than a lot of other cars. So even if the Megane Trophy is a few tenths off, I will do better in this car because I like the way it drives. Also, with the settings on this race, it kind of does suit the Megane Trophy. And another reason, I am not very good at this track. This is one of my weakest tracks. I don't really like the track. However, I am loving this race because there's a strategy element that PD have incorporated into this. So a big thank you to PD for actually listening with regards to strategy. So we've got tyre wear on times, I think it's like times 12 or something like that, or times 10 on soft tyres. And we also have fuel on times 7. Now, you can use the hard tyres. Some people are going with a way of doing this race on hard then soft tyres. One thing that you don't want to do is use the Audi TT for this combination. Although you see it in time trial at the top, it is not the car that's going to get you any sort of result. So we're in this race. We're currently in P1. We see we skip through to lap 2. We managed to get a bit of a gap to the car behind. We've got the Alpha behind us though. So in this race we've got the Alpha, which is great to see. Silvia, Alpha and Megane seem to be the three go-to cars, and they all seem very competitive, which actually makes for some really entertaining battles because each car has different type of abilities and strengths. And yeah, I'm absolutely loving this game this week, and I've been enjoying it anyway, even with some of the Nations race. We've got another great Nations race to upload to the channel soon, so make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Hit that like button because it all helps me out on the channel. I do this for a job, so extremely grateful to anyone who takes the time to hit the like button and subscribe button. So let's take a look here. We're going to skip ahead again to lap 4. You can see the Alpha behind us, still behind us at 156, still behind 155 I think it is, sorry, still behind us there, hanging on even with this tyre wear. So that Alpha must be pretty good on tyre wear along with the Megane. Now the Megane I think is not as good on this game as it was on GT Sport for tyres. The reason I think this is, it seems to wear the rears out a little bit more. Maybe the car's weighing a little bit more, as we see a few drivers going in the pits. Now I spotted Stagger going into the pit on that lap there. I go for the 5 laps on the first stint because I think it's because of the fuel, because you're obviously going to put your lower on fuel with the fuel. Something about this car seems to work better. I've tried out doing 4 laps and 5, and yeah, it seems to be always a stronger way to do it, to stay out for 5 then go in on 4 and then do that 4 lap stint at the end, and you seem to have better pace in the Megane Trophy. I have tried the other way, but it just doesn't seem to work for me. We look in the mirror there and we can see that Alpha really hanging with us in the mirror. He's really putting us under quite a lot of pressure here. He's keeping us on the limit of what we can do with these tyres, and he's getting incredibly close in that slipstream, and he's obviously going to be able to save fuel because he's in that slipstream, probably short shifting as well. And look how close he is getting here. That Alpha is a lot faster on the straights than the Megane Trophy. Is he going to have a little look? He doesn't go for that move up the inside. He decides to back off there and just play it safe as we work our way through these 2 tricky right hand corners and into the final corner of the lap. And that is going to be our cue to go into the pits because, like I say, we're doing the 5 lap stint on the first stint. Now I'm doing soft stint. Like I say, some people are doing soft hard tyres, hard soft tyres. Soft no stop has been seen, and it can actually kind of work. So that's kind of crazy as well, although it's not really the optimal way to do it. So we're in the pits, a new set of soft tyres, and we come out the pits in P3. We can see that Stagger there has got a massive undercut. So from pit, I think he pitted in P5. or P6, P5, and he's managed to come out ahead of us. Now the reason for that is because we were driving around on completely dead soft tyres. He put a fresh set of soft tyres on that Silvia, and he has got a massive, probably gained about 3 seconds or more on one lap, and also he could have been doing a bit of fuel saving. I've been going this race with the flat out approach, no fuel saving, just get in the car, give it everything, refuel at the pit stop, and that has been working for me. I also think it's probably optimal because the time it takes to refuel on this combination is very, it's almost instant, so you hardly lose any time. So is fuel saving really beneficial? If you want to try and get ahead at the front maybe, and if you're behind someone who's quite fast anyway, and you can save fuel, and then you can risk trying to break the slipstream by doing it, that can work. We did that in a race this week, so it can work. However, not really optimal. You really want to just go aggressive, and if you want to go that fastest race finishing time, just go full aggressive, and it should be the fastest way to do this combination. So we fast forwarded there behind Seagate. You see, trying to just get used to driving behind him, because obviously now we're behind him, we've got a little bit of dirty air, and we just got to try and get used to that with the Megane. The Megane does have a tendency to turn in very sharply, so when you do go into a corner, it can lose the rear quite easily. As we're following him now over the line to start lap 7. Now the problem that Stagger's got is he's done that one extra lap. Now with the settings that we've got on here, which again I think was like times 12 tyre wear, 12 laps extra that is like on soft tyres, so he's going to be struggling. Every lap his tyres are going to be getting worse and worse and worse, so we need to try and find a way to get past him as quick as possible, really. Looking on the replay camera, you can see just how close this battle is. We've got myself there in the Megane. We're in a sandwich. We've got the Silver in front of us and that Alpha still right behind us. So great to see this. I have to say, this is really good to see. It's so refreshing not seeing the WRX Impreza or what, you know, GTR four-wheel drive car just out there dominating. This is absolutely brilliant to see that 3 different cars that we don't normally see in the race in Group 4 doing really well and battling. Look at this, side by side battling with Stagger there, side by side all the way through these corners, trying to hang it around the outside with the fresher tyres. Now we managed to get ahead there with an absolutely brilliant move. However, his car is just so much faster on the straights. You can see the Silvia has a lot more grunt. We go to the right hand side, we've got the Alpha behind us. He actually has to take a penalty. I think he cut the corner slightly, but he only has half a second, so he's going to get back in that slipstream. But Stagger straight back past us with no effort at all. But absolutely great to see these 3 cars battling with each other. So like I say, this is because of the settings in the race. You put tyre wear on and it changes the dynamic of the races and it makes them a little bit more enjoyable, and you can actually get settings that would still allow the 4-wheel drive to compete, but they would fade a lot quicker. So again, there is ways that PD can still bring 4-wheel drive into the races but still make sure that the Megane and the Silvia can compete and stuff like this in other cars. It's just, it'll be really good if we can get to a situation where we've got loads of different cars in Group 3 and Group 4 battling it out for wins. As we go around the outside here, trying to see if we can hang it around the outside of Stagger. We brake early because we know that he's got worse tyres. We go for an undercut line, and now we've got the better exit off the corner. Can we manage to hold this now on the inside? Now the Silvia obviously has that extra straight line speed. He's going to try and break down the outside. I'm going to brake as late as I can as Megane. We brake extremely late, down to second gear, almost drift our way into the corner, and manage to take that P1 with an absolutely brilliant move there. Really happy with that one. Stagger there, just about holding on. Now he's battling with the Alpha, which is great news for me because we can see it in the mirror there, and on the replay in the bottom right hand corner you can see that Stagger and the Alpha are having a good little battle, and that Alpha has obviously got fresher tyres as well. So now we've just got to push on, which we do, drive as aggressive as we can. We should be okay. As we come to the end of lap 9, you can see we managed to just about stay ahead of Stagger there, as he was obviously defending his position to the Alpha. I think the Alpha dropped off a little bit, possibly with a penalty or something, but Stagger there holding on to P2, a good result from where he started, but then more worn tyres really did affect him. Now the Silvia does actually look a little bit better on tyres than the Megane. It just struggles through the faster corners though, but it definitely has better rear tyre wear, so bear that in mind if you're struggling on tyres. It does seem that the Silvia might be a better option than the Megane if you do struggle on tyres. So we take the win in that race. Great little battle there with Stagger, and we decide to go again, and this time we're up against Stagger again. He's now in P4, so I think he might have improved his time there. Now what we're going to see here is a prime example of why you do not go the Audi TT in a high tyre wear with racing soft tyres. Now the reason for this, like I said, we're running times 12 tyre wear here, and we're running the racing soft tyres. And the Audi TT is a front wheel drive car, so when you're accelerating out of them corners, the front tyres are spinning, you're absolutely killing them front tyres, and after a lap you pretty much killed the tyres, so you have nothing left and you lose so much of your pace, because that's where the TT gets its pace from exiting the corners with the front wheel drive. If they have no grip, you're going to have no lap time, and that again, just make sure you don't use this car in the race because it won't work. In time trial all day it seems to be the car to go, but in terms of race pace it's a definite no for the Audi TT. But you can see we're fast forwarding the first lap here, trying to catch him up. You can see on first lap his car is pretty solid, but you can already see by the end of the lap we're starting to catch him up in the corners, and that is because after one lap with that car his tyres are starting to fade. You can noticeably see that he's starting to get a lot of fade on his tyres, so you can see through here he's struggling to put the power down. We've got a lot more grip there, and now we're going to see if we can get past him as quick as possible. We've got to try and find the way past the Audi TT, because like I say, we don't want to get held up behind that car because it's fast on the straights, but on the corners he's going to have nothing in it at all. We've got Scotty behind us, Stagger behind that, so we're going to have to get on this and try and make sure that we don't just get held up for any amount of time. We have a little look there, decided to back out of that. There was no point going for an unrealistic Sen as we skip ahead till lap 2. You can see the end of lap 2, just a little bit further on in that lap, and we're still behind him. We're struggling to obviously get past because of the straight line, but now look at the difference here. He has nothing left. I think his front tyres are probably bald almost, like nothing left at all. He goes defensive on the inside. We're going to try and brake early again and see if we can go for a cutback like we did to Stagger earlier, and we get that done quite easily. That really didn't take much effort because he's just got nothing left. And you can see in the mirror behind us, Scotty's going to go for that move also and try and get himself up into P2, and Stagger's coming through also in this battle. So interesting, now we've got the Sylvia behind us driven by Scotty, and we're going to have to try and hold him off all the way to the pit stop phase. And depending on what strategy people do, some people like going in that lap pitting on lap 4. I like to pit lap 5. It seems to work better for me, so let's see how this pans out now. So looking in the mirror, you can see that we're pulling away though, because they had a little bit of battling going on there. You can see that Audi TT still trying to hang on and battle his way for 3 laps. On lap 3 that car is going to be a goner. Now we're going to skip through to lap 5. We've got Stagger right behind us now. This is crazy. So Scotty pitted on lap 4, and now we've got Stagger right in our mirror, who has managed to catch up, obviously looking after his tyres really well, and this time he's pitting the same lap as us. So this is going to be a straight fight to the finish now between myself and Stagger, and let's see what the fuel's like as we go into the pit lane. Now as we go into pit lane, I look behind and I just about got in that pit lane without a penalty. I actually thought I'd have a penalty, but you can see in terms of fuel it's not a massive difference. It's pretty similar. So yeah, as we come out the pits here, you can see that Stagger right behind us still. We can see Scotty down there in P3. He pitted a lap earlier, so he's going to fade off a little bit with them worn tyres. Now I have no option here really other than to try and push and stay ahead of that Silvia, because if that Silvia gets past the Megane, it's going to be very unlikely that I can really defend again. Now what you're going to notice is Stagger doesn't go for the slipstream. He's just going to keep his car in a straight line as possible, and again, there's a big reason for that. It's because it will save tyres. It may sound really silly in a straight line, but if you're turning the wheel and accelerating, and with a times 12 multiplier on racing soft tyres, every little input on your steering wheel matters. Now I'm trying to do it. I'm moving over to the right because I know that in a slipstream, if we give him that slipstream, that car will be right in our mirror. So we're going to have to keep doing it. So again, you see, as we come through here, I'm going to stay to the right hand side, and this again, you can see that putting that input there is going to take a little bit of life out the front and the rear tyres. You can see Stagger again keeping that minimal inputs in and just staying to the left hand side of the track. Now he knows he can do this because he knows that when it comes to the point, he probably will be able to get past us with the car that he's in, because like I say, the Silvia is just so much faster on the straight lines. Now Stagger, very clever driver, so he knows what he's doing here. We skip ahead to lap 8 now, out of 9, and he's managed to stay just really close to us. And this corner, we make a little bit of an error and don't really carry the speed through the corner. You can see we're going to have to be careful on the exit, not really getting the maximum exit speed there. And now Stagger is extremely close. You can see, look in the mirror now, as we're going to the right hand side, He doesn't even need to turn out the way because that car is just so much faster on the straights. I'm giving it maximum attack on the straight, but the Silvia straight past with no effort at all. And you see into the braking zone. We're going to try and go back around the outside here. He goes a little bit onto gravel, but doesn't really lose any pace at all. And again, on the uphill section, can we go around the outside? It doesn't look like we've got the power in the Megane to try and hang it around the outside there. So again, we're going to try and follow him as close as possible. Maybe have a look up the inside here. So we're going to go to the right hand side of the track and go for a little bit of a send. But again, Stagger brakes really late, hangs it wide, and we can't get that car up the inside. Again, we have a little look here. And again, we're just not able to go for that move there. We were a little bit too far back. And you can see that Stagger has clearly been looking after them tyres and also saving his fuel for this final lap where he can just go almost maximum attack. And this is going to be incredibly difficult to just stay anywhere near him. So we're going to get the slipstream now into turn one. Can we possibly go for a move there with a bit of a slipstream? But you can see again, no, we're not really gaining on the straights. The Silvia just has far too much power compared to the Megane, and it's just a case of can we find the way past if he makes a little mistake somewhere. So again, through here, trying to stay as close as possible to that Silvia, trying to just hang in there for an opportunity into one of the braking zones. But at the moment, it's looking very difficult. You can see that Stagger driving incredibly well, chucking the car in, getting the rotation on, onto power, both of us really well there. And now we're going to have a little look into the braking zone. But again, this corner is an overtaking opportunity, but not from this far back. We're far too far away into the braking zone to really go for a move there, especially with the tyres fading off. So again, we're going to be going through these really fast corners, and you can see that Stagger just pulling away on acceleration. Now he managed to just hold that position all the way to the finish, just pulled away, and we actually had to do a little bit of fuel, worrying about the fuel there. You can see the fuel was very, very low, so I had to do a bit of short shifting, and we finished round about 1 second behind. But another really, really good race. But that was not the end. We have possibly the best race saved for the end here. This was a really entertaining battle that we had again on Daily Race C, and we've got, starting from P3 this time, we've got two Meganes in front of us, we've got an Alpha behind us, and I think we've got a Silvia behind that Alpha. So let's see what we can do in this one. Starting from P3, first things first, we need to try and get past them two Meganes as quick as possible. Now obviously this race again was done live on stream, so make sure you check out the channel, subscribe if you haven't already done so, because if you want to watch these races live, you need to be subscribed and hit that notification button. But you can see the Alpha behind us, two Meganes in front. One Megane goes very wide there. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe got a little bit loose on the curb and lost traction, but managed to just about save it. But they're very, very close into the braking. We're going to try and go as late as possible race. Now behind us there, the Alpha goes for a little bit of a send. We kind of gave him space there because I saw it very late. But yeah, it was a bit of an optimistic move into that corner, and it just about we survived that one without getting hit. And now we're right up behind the two Meganes in front of us. So trying to get this line as perfect as we can and carry as much speed. You can see P1 goes very, very wide there and actually loses a massive amount of momentum. Now we've got the slipstream to P2 and P1. We're going to go to the right hand side. Now P1 tries to defend this side, but we're going to go for that little gap on the right hand side. We managed to get the car just about into that gap and into P1. Now we've just got to try and hold this into the braking zone. Can we hold it on the apex, onto the power, and straight up into P1 there? Pretty nice move, and that is almost a perfect start to this Daily Race C, putting ourselves up into the lead and into P1 with the two Meganes right behind us. Now we do have the Alpha behind that, and also the Silvia that is going to come through into this race. You're going to see as we skip a little bit further ahead in a moment. As we look in the mirror there, you can see the Silvia, the black Silvia, the two yellow Meganes, and the red Alpha all battling their way through there. And this is where we're just trying to pull away as much as we can. But we see that Silvia has managed to get himself up into P3 and right behind that Megane. So this is going to be extremely interesting. You see as we come through this corner here, he's right behind that Megane, and he's going to go for a move probably into the braking zone. So we're going to go a little bit further on in the race now and skip to lap 3, and we can see that we've got that Silvia right behind us now, and he's actually got himself into the slipstream, so driving incredibly well and has managed to get himself into our slipstream now. And this is going to be incredibly interesting because we know, one, that Silvia seems a tiny bit better on tyre wear as we come to the lap 4, and you can see again in our mirror there the Silvia as we work our way through these two right hand corners. Now obviously lap 4 is a time where some drivers are going to choose to go into the pits, so this is going to be really interesting. So we can see here as we go into this left hand corner, nice and early into the corner, try and take the exit speed. We see the Silvia decides to stay out. However, if if you keep your eye on the pit lane information, you'll see that there will be a few drivers that are going to dart off into the pits and go for that early stop on lap 4. I think Wind there into the pits and quite a few other drivers into the pits early. So this lap has to be good. However, straight away, we make a little mistake there. And you can see that Sylvia right behind me now. And this is going to be a case of just trying not to make too many errors on this in lap. However, we're going to lose a lot of time. So we're probably going to lose positions as we come out of the pits as well. Because obviously these tyres are completely dead now. You can see that rear left tyre really struggling for any sort of traction. You can see it on the telemetry. Hardly anything left on the tyre. Now the Sylvia has that slipstream. Will he go for a move up the inside there? He decides to back out of that one. He thinks twice about that. Was a little bit too far behind. And now we're both going through here. Almost bumper to bumper there. Close as anything. And we just got to try and keep it nice and smooth through these fast flowing corners. And again, GT7 looking absolutely stunning as usual. I always point it out in these replay cameras because it does look absolutely brilliant. So working our way through them fast corners. The Sylvia goes very, very wide there. Now that gives me a little bit of a break there because he ran wide, loses momentum. And now we're going to power our way down this hill into this very tricky right-hand corner. And you can see that Sylvia getting closer, closer, closer. Is he going to go for a move on the inside? We decide to stay to the left. And we managed to brake quite late there. However, we get a bit of a drift going and just about managed to save it without going into the gravel. That could have been race over if we'd have just turned into the gravel, facing the wrong way. We would have lost so much time trying to get the car back into a straight line. But you see, we're now down to P2. And we know that we've lost a lot of time on this lap to the other drivers that have probably pitted lap 4. So this is going to be incredibly intense as we come out the pits. Where we're going to come out, who we're going to be battling with. It's going to be very, very interesting. So into this right hand corner, you can see almost running a little bit wide there, P1. Very careful you don't pick up a penalty doing that. And now into the final corner, and now we're both going to be going into the pits with possibly different level of fuel as well. Let's take a look as we go into the pit lane, and we can see that the fuel is not too different. I think there's a couple of % difference in that. So into the pits, refueled up a little bit more than I needed so I could go 100% attack, and you can see we've come out in P5 and the Sylvia has managed to come out right in the lead. And unfortunately there, Wind got absolutely took out by the Alpha. I'm not sure what was going on there, whether there was any sort of previous, but yeah, P3 just completely destroyed Wind there. We're going to go up the inside now, go for a move on the inside and then take the exit speed. However, the Alpha just pushes us wide there. So yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with this Alpha. I'm not sure whether he's just being aggressive, but that was not very nice what he did to Wind. It was pretty out of order, but we're going to see if we can get past this Alpha. Also, this Alpha is struggling on tyre wear. Not sure when he pitted, but he seems to have no grip at all. So I'm not sure why he was driving like that to Wind, because it just seems a bit pointless. So we're going to see if we can hang it around the outside here. So we brake incredibly late, hang around the outside from McGann. Really nice move here on the outside and take that position up into P3, technically P2, because P1 has not pitted yet in this race. So P1 is not a worry for us at all. However, P2 in front of us is the car we're battling. And eventually we managed to get right back up into that slipstream on lap 7. And now the race is on to see who can take the win in this race. And this was an absolutely brilliant battle. I really enjoyed this race. So much fun. And I've been having so much fun in Gran Turismo recently in general. Whether we've been doing lobbies and getting them to work. And this is an area that does need looking at. Lobbies, some screen freezes, crashes, server stability, PS4 with PS5 players. Little things like this need to be resolved. Hopefully PD can get them sorted. BOP also needs to be sorted, but I think there's more important priorities before BOP, basic functionality of the game. But is the game still fun? As you can clearly see with these races, this game is still a lot of fun. As we go over the line there with the fastest lap of the race into the 203s, and now right behind P1, you can see that we've got that slipstream. Can we find a way past? So we know that the Sylvia is incredibly quick on the straights compared to the McGann. It's not quick compared to other cars, but compared to the McGann Trophy, it is very, very fast. However, I know that he must have put a little bit less fuel in than me because he managed to get a bit of a jump. I put a little bit more than what I needed him, so we can really rev it out. Maybe he's going to need to fuel save. So into the braking zone, we have a little look up the inside here. Can we go for a move there? A little bit too far behind to go for a move there. And now we're going to see if we can maybe try and get a strong exit from these flowing corners. So again, very, very close to him now. We're going to get a little bit of dirty air as we go through here because we're really close to P1, so a little bit of turbulent air. And as we come through here, we hit the curb a little bit funny. You can see the rear just snaps Now that's partly because we hit the curb funny and partly because we were very close to P1. So we just lost a little bit of aero. Luckily managed to catch it and just caught the drift. But we have lost quite a big amount of time. So we're going to fast forward the action here as we try and get closer. We're over a second behind him now. We've got to try and get back up behind him before this final lap or on the final lap and go for a move somewhere. So this is going to be interesting. Can we find a way past on the final lap in this Daily Race C? So starting the lap now, this is going to be a case of just pushing and trying to keep the car stable. Obviously the tyre wear is quite bad, but not as bad as it would be if you pitted lap 4. We obviously pitted lap 5 to have them some little bit more grip on the tyres for that final lap. And you can see at this stage of the race, the Megane Trophy actually feels pretty solid. It's weird. On the first stage, doing the 5 laps, it feels awful, but on this stage, on lap 4 now, it feels really, really strong. And this is why it just seems to favour the Megane doing it this way. So again, in that slipstream, can we have a little look up here? We're going to look on the inside, but no, we're too far back to go for a move there. But we're going to try and take a tight line, get on the power as early as we can, and see if we can just put P1 under pressure. He does look like he's having to do fuel saving. Like we said, I think he put a little bit less fuel than what he needed in at the pit stop, and that gave him the advantage of getting ahead of the battling. However, at this stage now, it looks like he's having to do a little bit of fuel saving. As we come through here, he runs a little bit wide there, you can see, onto the grass, and that is going to lose him momentum. So can we go for a move? This is going to be incredibly action-packed now as we're going down the back straight here into this banked corner for the final time. This is our last chance of an overtake. We're a little bit too far behind to go for the inside move, but we're going to go out to the outside and try and hang it around the outside and go for a move all the way around the outside, and we actually managed to hold that on the outside. That was a really nice move. P2 now on the outside, but we've got the inside line, which is going to give us some momentum, and now we're just going to try and defend into these final few corners. So you can see that Sylvia, he's going to have a look up the inside. We go to the inside to defend. He goes back up the inside, so we're going to have to give him a bit of space. However, we can break so much later in the Megane than the Sylvia. We managed to hold that line like Stagger did to us before, and we've looked like we're going to take the win in this Daily Race C. So what a race, and what a group of races we've had at this week's Daily Race C so far. And this was only the first 2 days, and we've had these races. So yeah, when people say that they don't have fun on Gran Turismo 7, I get it. I get that there's issues, but is there fun to be had? I can clearly see with the races that we've had that there is definitely a lot of fun to have on Gran Turismo 7. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you did. Hit that like button, it helps me out massively. And I'll see you all for another highlights video, hopefully tomorrow or the day after, from the Nations race. Another little great battle we had there. So yeah, I'll see you then for that. Back for more live streams as well. See you all soon. Bye everyone.